And back up. Yay for first world problems. I reckon it's dropped out because of Twitch. So it's like completely unresponsive. There we go. And back up. It is possibly a sign that my broadband unit is starting to cock it. So if it drops, you actually have to wait. Alright, and we're back in. And there's a couple of things that are interesting too. It's like, from the looks of it, it looks like you can spawn vehicles. In 2142. And we don't know yet whether or not that is actually like a player action, or if it's going to be something more like you get a certain amount of kills and you can call it an attack, or like your squad gets a certain amount of points. We don't know what it's going to be yet. If it's a squad, it's going to make it pretty hard to sell it players. If it's not, like being able to call in vehicles, like, what's going to stop from selling someone from like landing on top of the building and calling an attack on top of the building? That would be pretty cool. I got the feeling that the wingsuit's going to be maybe a certain specialization that they can only... like that's their specialization. Better move before I get logged up. So this is basically turned into a waiting for party to form stream. And a watch Null get drunks stream. It's been pretty quiet recently. I've got more viewers by playing like Left 4 Dead. It's not all about the views though. Hey, I'm no longer a sprout. When did that happen? Or is that just because I'm in a party like waiting for a queue? At least my coughing seems to stop for a little bit. Really bad this morning. You know what I miss about browser games? That would be like the perfect thing to do right now while I'm waiting. Nowadays it's like, do you guys have phones? What I really need to get is like a tablet. Like a secondary display even for my phone. I think my phone can take HDMI. I'm pretty sure you can get HDMI out on this. It's still glitched. Twitch is definitely bugging up. It's doing it again. It really doesn't like being put in like a save suspend state. The quality's good when I'm not moving. Okay, let's see if we can reload Twitch. Sweet. DPS life. Should play a tank. They're considering basically every healer in this game kind of plays like a disc priest. But healing without... Oh god, what the how the fuck would healing work in this game? What, are you tab targeting your friendlies to heal? Like you'd have to select your friendly cast to heal? Well, I suppose they're like mostly like radial heals. Maybe with a couple of single target heals. I haven't even checked into that stuff yet. Ribs playing up. I really hope I don't have to deal with that injury for the rest of my life. I miss driving forklifts. I never thought I'd say it. Hey! Bingo. Sweet. Sorry, I'm still sprout. Looks like this isn't going to go far. scale. Still gonna use these. Until this guy plays well. That's how you target. You can target them down there. boss fight. Oh, losing my shit. Times everything. I didn't feel like incredibly useful, but it's still fun. Made a bit of gold, I suppose. I still reckon it goes. Fucking Nux is gonna love that. I hope he never watches this video. Oh, fucking hell. Fucking Nux. Probably the... I'll be right back. Probably one of the funnier videos that I've seen him put up was about a woman who could pick up weights with her vagina. And I just fucking lost it. It was hilarious. She was talking about how like one of her friends even got so good at it that she accidentally sent one of her partners to hospital and like, yeah, she dragged him all the way to hospital with her vagina. If anyone just joined at that moment, I apologize. It's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? The last sled dog has died. It's all good. Now open a jar and I'll be impressed. A jar of anchovies for bonus points. Without spilling any oil, because otherwise, you know, it will get a bit fishy. It even comes with a complimentary olive. All you gotta do is wait for the right time of the month and it's pizza. What the fuck? No element, step away from the computer. Collect the chapters. It's an adventurer's guild. So I'll get used to using him. I haven't. looking at what's happening at the moment in Britain with COVID, it's like a grand experiment. They decided to just, when like a very low percentage of the population is actually vaccinated, they've got hundreds of deaths and thousands of people getting infected. And they just decide to get rid of the restrictions. What about those countries which still follow them? I mean, would we block all travel to their citizens? Yeah, I would. Countries which aren't doing what we are doing. But that will never happen. And of course they're going to evolve the next variant. It's going to be like E and F and G. You know, one of the best things about COVID that's ever happened to me is I usually get 1 to 2 bad flus a year. I haven't had a flu in 2 years. It just goes to show. On that note, I am going to be right back because I need a bite. Yeah, so I'm still not like 100% confident in my new job either. It's one of those weird things. It's basically It's something that I need like a lot of time to learn. I'm getting better at it. I mean, technically I am a telecommunications engineer. It's just I'm learning to be an engineer in a different field, which is like very, very different. And I think I'm doing alright. I'm being told that I'm doing alright. But I hate it when there's a question, it's like, oh, one sec, I need to ask someone else, sort of thing. And I have to do that a lot. But like more and more I'm starting to be able to do things from like basically by myself. And when questions come through, it's always to me first. Because of the way that the system works. So I'm kind of like the gatekeeper in a way. So it's like, question comes in, I've got to analyze it, figure out what it's about, what it is. If I can do it, I do it, and if I can't, then I know who to pass it to. It's really weird. I think I'm doing it right. But like, I'm not going to get excited about it the same way that I did with my last position. Because, let's face it, I'm a casual, so I might be getting paid a little bit more. But, I don't know. Good things never tend to happen to me. I'm definitely learning. It's just tricky because I'm quite introverted. So because I'm talking directly with customers every single day. It's not like a customer service position. So just before you start thinking that, it's not a customer service position. It is basically more of an engineering technical support. So it's completely different. It's not like help desk where you like sit there and you follow a script. Have you tried turning it on? Have you tried turning it off? It's not like that. It's more along the lines of like, you actually have to be able to sit there and go through a schematic and find certain components and have knowledge about them as well, so that like someone says, oh, I've got a problem with this, it's doing this, what do I do? And then you can go, well, when this sort of stuff starts to happen, you gotta do this. And there's no script. Like literally it's completely unscripted. And it's high level. It's basically like, so like if you have like your tech support or whatever, that's like a level 1. I'm more like of a level 2 or 3. And in a field that I've never worked in before. I'm picking it up quite quickly. It's like a mix between being a like sales, it's a mix between being sales, customer service, technical support, and a mechanic and an engineer. It's not incredibly challenging, like that's the thing, like if I can't answer a question, what I do is I pass it on to someone who does, and then I learn from what they're doing, basically. Like as I said, like I got sick of things like that. So like I'm working basically like a mechanical engineering sort of thing. Bit of a hint, waterproofing. Obviously I'll never talk about what the actual specific job is on the stream. We all know how that ends up. Fucking but I'm quite happy doing it, and I mean, it's one of those things where it's cerebral. Like, you really have to think. It's, Yeah, it's nice. It's like marine engineering. It's basically what it is. I grew up on the water, so it makes it a lot easier. Because I've got a bit of a basic idea of what I'm doing before I even start, but there is so much to fucking learn. It's not like just fucking BCF or whatever. It's like legit, like being the only authorized actual suppliers in wholesale for certain very high-end products. Like, we're talking very expensive kit. And knowing how it works without even ever having used it is probably the hardest part. So I'm having to apply my technical brain to figure it all out as I go. Because I'm a telecommunications engineer, that's kind of alright, because I know how that sort of shit works. When it comes to like electricity and voltages and all that sort of lovely stuff, it's just getting the mechanical down. I've never been a mechanic before now, I'm basically learning to be a mechanic. Hey Tink. Say hi Tink. Yeah. Sorry Tink, I need my lap. Okay, you can stay on my lap for a little bit, but not too long. Yeah, the sort of things that I'm fault finding and fixing and like learning and like braining out is basically stuff that's worth anywhere between. Oh hey Andrew, how are you going? I'm like kind of learning a lot about different types of marine gear, and it's really weird because it's it could be something that's just worth like $200, $300, and then it could be something that's worth, you know, $20,000. It's really weird. And like there's no guides or anything that I am able to use to actually like go through it, like because you actually kind of have to know how it works. I'm just sitting here talking to myself half the time. But yeah, if you want to chat or whatever, feel free to go up in the chat. I love talking to other people, and I'm finding it's helping a lot. I recently moved from a kind of like a sort of like a dispatch like spare parts sort of job into like more of a like a technical service sort of job. So the more I talk to people, the easier it makes it for me mentally. Because I'm a bit of an introvert. I'm not always actually talking to people. It doesn't come very naturally to me. Okay, so we've got to go back this way. I think. Oh no, that's here. So I'm finding that the more that I'm... Because you've got to concentrate on like 3 different things at once. It's kind of weird. So like, you'll be talking with a person while you're also like at the same time taking notes, while also going through like 3 or 4 or 5 different systems, like looking up information and like schematics and different types of gear. It's really good fun. I find that the hardest part for me is probably my hearing. Like it's okay because like I can look off to the side of here. And it's like I can look at chat and all that sort of thing. But being able to actually understand what someone's saying to me over the phone, because they're used to like just basically go blah 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 blah, and it's like, hey, slow down for a second. I just need to write down what you're actually on about. But I'm enjoying it. Okay. This game doesn't hold your hand as much. So like that's the first one. And there's more around here somewhere. As well, I think. And one of the weird things in Australia is that like marine stuff is like fairly unregulated. So like you've got all the safety and stuff like around people who operate in marine. Like they have to have certain safety standards and all that sort of stuff. But like when it comes to like all the different gear that people are using, there's very few like actual regulations, so you get a lot of people just basically when they're doing shit. There's the other. I mean, compared to my last job, like, my last job was probably a cakewalk. Except for I was continuously told, don't try to take on more responsibility than you need to. You don't need to know this, you don't need to know that. Whereas, like, the job that I'm in now, it's like, you need to basically know everything. It's almost, like, pretty much saying that, like, amateur hour. for the last business that I was working in. Like, they used to just basically dump everything on me anyway. So I had to know how. I get shit like a manager saying, "Oh, why are you using your phone?" Well, so that whenever I get an engineer calling me, I can just quickly go Teams accept call whenever I'm away from the computer. Oh, you don't need to take photos of shit. Oh yeah, what happens when something goes wrong? Oh, we'll have to think about getting you a camera then. What? I mean, like, my phone is a fucking 4 megapixel, 8 megapixel fucking camera. Doesn't matter if it's a business phone or not. So I'm kind of glad that I left the job that I was in previously. But there's so much to learn in my current position. But it's pretty chill. It's far more organized. They're using systems that are 20 years bloody old, and they're like 10 times more organized than the joke of the system that I was using in the previous position, which is kind of cool. Like, it's more of like a get real motherfucker thing. And because I've worked in warehouses before, like one of the people that I'm learning from is like, "Oh, always make sure you wear your high-vis and stuff when you walk through like a warehouse." And I'm just like, yeah, I just happen to be like, I can't show you the car, but like, I'm a licensed forklift operator. I know all about fucking warehouses. Yeah, be careful, there might be low voltage running through that. It's like, yeah, I used to work in telecommunications exchanges with 500 volt bus bars, bare copper, running everywhere. But that said, that particular person is an extremely good font of knowledge. I'm just worried over silly things. I love how the Lalafell are like the predominant black mage race. It makes so much sense. Okay, Tig, I need my lap back. Okay? I know. Okay, oh. It's okay, dude. It's kind of a weird position, like having him on my lap. It's kind of bad for my back. Of course, it's got to be used. Yeah, got to do it again. The thing is, I've noticed that the more that I do my actual class quests, the further I pull ahead from the other ones. I kind of don't like having to level down because I'm supposed to be learning how to use these new abilities. And the next, like, campaign quests, like, I lose a lot. I'm supposed to be learning my rotation using combat and stuff. Still have an entire... Oh yeah, I could have just clicked that and transported to it, couldn't I? Yeah. So I'm still learning how to use the systems in this game. Yeah, chocolate. Don't know how many times I've walked past it. Pretty sure I've unlocked that one, but I've got the chocolate bar as well while I'm here. Must be upstairs. Right, I'll be right back. I've started drinking coffee again as well. Curses. There's one thing for drinking coffee, it's another thing for how it winds you up. Because I haven't been drinking it for months. I swear to God, I'm actually getting wired off like a cup of coffee. It's like that meme with the where it has like the brain and it's like the see-through guy's head and it's like just like blue, and then you see sparkles around it, and then it's like supernova. And considering that I've only really been doing it for like a week, I've learned so much fucking shit. It's great. I've previously done it for Ford sort of components. So I was a spare parts interpreter for Ford parts, and that also included like Mazda, Peugeot. A lot of the parts were actually interchangeable, and I did that back like about 12, 13 years ago. And I was using Ford's like systems from Ford, in case you don't know, like you got Ford, basically General Motors. I was using all their systems back then, and their systems are comparable to what I'm using now. Well, they had pretty good damn systems back then. Yeah, and the difference is back then I wasn't just like going through obsolete stock and saying, yep, we got to get rid of that. And I'll look up the part, find out exactly what it does, make a nice little ad on eBay and put it up for like 50% discount price and then sell it out of my own area in a warehouse. Now I'm doing it with stuff that's live, essentially. It could be like control boards, it could be like all different types of assemblies. I have a bit of a rule, I never like confirm or deny exactly who I'm working for when I'm talking on stream. But yeah, like some pretty damn big like names up there, that's for sure. And one of the things that I'm kind of, it seems to be that I'm better at than older people doing the same sort of stuff, and people who are less perhaps experienced with IT systems, is I'm better at like isolating whether or not it's us or it's not. And I can do that fairly quickly. And like I can generally nail down a category or what it is like pretty damn fast. So essentially I'm doing like a level 2 at the moment. I'm not level 3 yet. But I have done a couple of level 3s. But like whenever I do like a level 3, I'm just like straight up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know that this should be right, but I'm just gonna double check. And I haven't been wrong yet. And the level 3 stuff will come with time. Even sent a few emails. So I'm basically on a computer. Still get my hands dirty. Just don't have to drive a forklift anymore. It's pretty sweet. I still kind of miss driving forklifts. Arguably, the pay is better on an afternoon shift. But where I'm at doesn't do afternoon shift, so... I think it's actually... If you have to have 2 different shifts to get stuff done, if it's not like a full-blown warehouse and warehouse only, if it's a mix between a production environment and like a warehouse environment, you shouldn't need 2 shifts. You only need 2 shifts when you've got trucks coming in, trucks going out constantly. If it's only got to travel just around the corner, you do not need 2 shifts. It's only when you're like organizing and booking like international freight that you need 2. So outside of like a production facility, yes, you need 2 shifts. Outside of like just a basic warehouse, like spare parts sort of shit, you don't. You don't. So I'm learning a lot more about like the management aspect of it as well now. And that's one of the main reasons why I left my last job, is because like it was I was essentially doing a management job. Like I was basically my own supervisor. And we had a new manager come in who wanted to do everything their way, and they wanted to micromanage everything, so I was like, fuck it. Screw it, I'm taking a day off. Take a day off here, take a day off there, see how you handle it. I love how it doesn't cancel target against targets that are dead. It's nothing. Yeah, I can definitely do better things than jumping on my arms. The sky's the limit. I mean, everything that I do just keeps on adding to my result. It's great. I've done so many different positions. Fuck. I do my best work when I'm not being micromanaged. Because, like, I'm quite responsible. If I need to learn something, I'll do what I can to learn it. If I am capable of doing something myself, I'll do it myself. If I need help, I'll get help, you know. I'm not lazy. I never have been. And one of the absolute biggest problems with warehousing in Australia is racism. And when I actually say that, it's not actually racism against, like, workers from different groups working in a warehouse, like, towards them. It's more like certain groups who will basically force out Australians out of positions. Various ethnicities that do it. I won't name names, but it's a serious problem. Like, you do everything you can to do the right thing by someone or a group of people, and essentially they will treat you like absolute shit just so that they can get someone from their own ethnicity into a position. And once that starts happening in your warehouse, there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. So I was quite well prepared for moving on from my previous, because I knew it was going to happen. I've seen it happen more than once. still, that's not where the big bucks are. The big bucks are when your company is still successful. When you don't have to do things that are just... What's the best way to put it there? You don't have one person turning a nut, another person putting in the bolt, and another person putting on the washer. One person can do that. And you don't put people who have got like severe mental illness and trauma in positions of responsibility just because they're your ethnicity. Like the sort of work that I'm starting to do now, that I've been doing for the past year or so, is above like people just turning up to work and trying to do their bit, you know, and it's above basically people. It's above amateur hour. Because at the end of the day, if you're costing, like your company might still be making money, but if it's costing 3 times as much to do it, I know what I'm like a gun at. I'm a gun at anything involving SAP, anything involving process, anything involving like dispatch or receiving or like technical considerations. Like I'm a gun at that. I can focus on one thing and do it very well. And I can do multiple things very well. I can do 3 jobs. And basically for most positions I don't need to be trained to do that. I like being thrown in the deep end and I thrive off pressure. And I'm not the sort of person that when shit is fucked up, I'm not the sort of person that would be like, hey, you're not doing your job right. Hey, you're not doing your job right. I'm more the sort of person who's like, well, this is the solution to the problem. This is how we fix it. This is what we need. And if I don't get it, I leave. Straight up. Plenty of fish in the sea. I'm pretty good at whatever I set myself to do. Even if it's something I don't know how to do. At the end of the day, I'm not going to be the person sitting there doing the work if I don't have time to do it all. I'm going to be the person handing out the work. Hey, thanks. Sorry, I've been ranting on far too long about work. It's just been driving me nuts. So I'm really enjoying playing this. It's great. Like, I feel like there's a lot more freedom. Even, like, it's kind of a weird thing, because, like, playing World of Warcraft or whatever, you kind of have even more freedom, because it's less linear, I suppose. But even though this game is more linear, it gives you the choice to choose what you want to do at any one stage. Like, so right now I could continue going on with the class quest, or I could continue going on with an actual story quest. And it's not like I need to go gather 9,000 points or something to go get some gears so that I'm able to do it. I might have to do a couple of quests so that I'm able to continue on with the story, but I can do everything available to me right now without having to grind out anything else. And I don't mind, like, add-ons, because, like, I'm used to using add-ons. Whenever I'm playing WoW, it'd be like I'd make a full-on, like, a week or a suite, basically, for every single class that I play. I custom build it to my exact what I need. I don't usually go and just download like a pack or whatever to be able to do it. I might do that to get an idea of what I'm capable of doing, and then I'll go in and I'll like modify it. But like if I want to play a new spec or something like that, it'll take me like an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours to just sit there and go through and create everything that I need. Ah! Got the glasses. Okay. I don't feel like I have to go in there yet. Some stuff I'm still missing out here yet. Kokobuki. Ah, so Vesper Mega Records. guessing I've got to go like visit the buildings and try and find people. And it's great being able to like select different classes. Though honestly, I haven't needed to yet. It hasn't reached like Fantasy Star Online levels of difficulty. I don't think it will. And before you say that, oh, that's easy, there's a... What I used to like doing was all the story mode quests, whenever there was a combat sequence, I tried to do it on hardcore. And some of them could get pretty damn difficult.
So you're the adventurer of whom I've heard so much. Well met, friend. My name is Minthelia. I have awaited your coming.
I think that this is like fairly well balanced. As long as you're not like face rolling your keyboard.
Please. No doubt you are right first. Let me begin by telling. We are the scions of the 7th Dawn, an order that transcends political boundaries. Our single objective is the preservation of the future of Eorzea. Among our gravest concerns are the godlike beings known as the Primals. Their existence is a bane upon Eorzea, nay, the world at large, and we have striven to find a lasting solution to the threat they pose. Our order is home to a number of individuals who, like you, possess a rare and special talent. This talent takes various forms, but one holds particular interest for us. Tell me, have you ever experienced a sudden, inexplicable loss of consciousness?
Maybe.
Have you ever had the sensation of being pulled away from reality? Felt as though you were hovering in space? A mind without a body?
Yeah.
All these things are the manifestations of your talent. Yours is the power to transcend the boundaries of the soul, a power known as the Echo. The Echo allows you to pass through the walls of a man's soul. You will be there in his memories and see things as he saw them. You may even interact with that which you see, though you cannot change the outcome of events. For another blessing, the Echo will enable you to know a man's mind even if you cannot comprehend his words. In short, the Echo is a truly extraordinary power. And this power is strong. It is only a shame that we cannot use it whensoever we choose. That's right. I too possess the Echo. With that established, let us return to the subject of the Primals. So long as they exist, the realm cannot take so much as a single step towards true peace.
I mean,
measures must be taken.
So
Measures which transcend boundaries, be they of
10.
faction, race, language, or creed. And to do so, make no mistake, the Echo will be instrumental in dealing with the primal threat. Without... I know not what it is, but I firmly believe that the power we possess was given to us for a purpose.
Final Fantasy 3 in American. Sort of like bend.
Why else would the gods entrust man with a gift so extraordinary, if not to have him use? And so I implore
Basically,
you,
the players in Esper.
lend us your power.
So this is when you get to employ retainers. I'm still on the trial version. That's one of the best parts. Like, I'm not even paying for the game. once I get up to 60, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be buying it. I've already unsubbed for WoW. Mostly because I'm just sick of jumping through hoops. My favorite WoW expansion is surprisingly Warlords of Draenor, which a lot of people hated, but I loved it because of the raiding. Because in order to get into the raids and to do the raids, the only real quest that you had to grind out was the Apexis crystals. That was just like one quest. You didn't have to grind reputations. You didn't have to grind unless you went flying. And you could get most of the gear that you needed to start off from mythic dungeons. Start off raiding in mythic dungeons. And also, really disenfranchised by how every week you'd have to get high mythic keystone clears in WoW in order to be able to raid effectively and get gear that's basically just stat sticks. And like roll a dice, and like week after week after week you wouldn't get the trinkets or the like the specific gear that you needed to affect your rotation enough in order to be optimized for raiding. And it kind of got really old. And like even in WoD, like when I got to Hellfire Citadel, for example, as soon as you've done a normal clear, you get the trinket off Archimond for Arcane Mage, for example, which is what I used to play. And you combine that with one of the trinkets from one of the raid bosses. If you have the normal version of the Gorfiend trinket and the normal version of the Archimond trinket, you could do all of heroic. Like that was it. And even though you might not necessarily have more chances to get it, like once you got into heroic, you had chances to get that on normal and on heroic. And from there, it just like completely changes your rotation. Whereas in like Shadowlands, BFA, and Legion, you were heavily constrained to like range, and you needed to get extremely lucky on like 3 or 4 different systems just to be competitive. Whereas in WoD, you only really needed to get 1 or 2. And if you were tanking, for example, in WoD, doesn't matter. Like you could go in with like just whatever you had, really, as long as you follow mechanics. Like the fights were very, very complicated, and they were long, and there were a lot of them. But as long as you knew what you're doing, you could do it. But as the expansions progressed, it's like you absolutely needed that gear to be able to progress. And I think it was aimed far too high towards the top tier, like mythic raiders, and aimed at like the absolute casual that only does like looking for raid. But there was nothing for like the in-between that does like the normal and the heroics. Oh shit, I think I missed it.
I take it you will help us. Wonderful.
And I was happy
But
with just
come,
getting
I would introduce you
like
to your
heroic
friends in the Order.
ahead of the curve clears, and I wasn't too worried about doing
Tell me,
mythics. Though I
does
did
the
do
name
mythics.
Sharlayan ring any bells? It used to be one of the
But I wouldn't be,
Sharlayans
like,
were the keepers
clearing
of
the
wisdom,
entire
both
raid before
old
the
and new.
Start with the
Their
next
mastery
patch on
over
mythic.
magic and
I
ether was
might do, like,
unsurpassed,
between
and even
3
the
and 5
Garleans knew
bosses.
to fear them. Among
And you
when
have
the
a, like,
realm
if you have
began
a really
its
good raid
descent
team,
into
that's
chaos,
fine.
and the
But that's like 20
those
people
same
who are
brave
willing to be
souls
chill
stand before you
and
now.
are somewhat good at the game. And inevitably you've got the people who
The masked woman.
basically want to clear the entire thing on mythic, and you've got people who don't.
Well,
And in Australia, it's quite
Okay,
hard
my
to
turn to
find
introduce-
people that are that committed.
He is our man
So
here in
there's
Ulda,
a very
jewel
small
of the desert.
subset of guilds that do that.
Welcome to the team. I never doubted that you'd come.
So one of the best guilds that I was ever in,
If
Was,
I may, the lovely maiden beside
we did
Greetings.
heroic progression and a couple of mythics. But in between that, if you couldn't get progression in the actual guild because people didn't turn up or whatever, we'd just launch a pug. You know, like we'd have like the official, there might only be like 14 or 2 tanks, 2-3 healers, 3-4 healers, and maybe like 6-7-8 DPS. And if it didn't pan out for the week, the next thing that we do is like maybe 1 tank from the guild, a healer or 2, and a couple of DPS. We'd just like jump in, start plugging it, and we'd teach everyone else how to do the raids, and without being too nasty about it either. And so we'd end up doing more progression in pugs than we did sometimes as a guild, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You might have like 200, 300 members in your guild and only 10 of them rock up every week. So I had
Last
a
but
healer
not
class, a
least
tank
is
class,
Urianger, who presides
Like a
over all
DPS class,
affairs
basically.
within these halls.
and I could play
Pray
any of them.
seek him out whenever you
As soon
have
as Legion came around,
questions.
that basically became impossible. You couldn't multi-spec. So if you wanted to play, say, my favorite classes are like Death Knights, Mages, and Priests. And I'd usually just play 1 spec per class. So I would have to have 3 characters geared up. And it became virtually impossible to do that once Legion hit. You had to focus on artifact power over everything. 'Cause
Dawn may
without
ban
doing that, you wouldn't even be able to play more than 1 character.
the words of a dear
And that would take
friend.
neckbeard levels
At the
of
Battle of
commitment.
Carteneau,
to
we
do more than
sought
one.
out Minfilia.
Along with the Archons, those blessed with the Echo play a pivotal role in our endeavor to forge a bright... Oh, I should also introduce you to
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
In time, I hope you will
And
come to
Shadowlands
think
was
of us
actually a
as
step in
family.
the right direction,
But
kind of.
without further
because,
ado,
by tying it into Torghast, a lot of the progression.
I would assign
the
you your
certain
first...
legendaries.
Urianger, have the documents arrived from the students of
remember that.
Baldessian?
Could be talking out my ass.
Aye,
Upgrading
my
gear.
lady. They arrived but recent.
It kind of made it possible because all you really had to do was like max
We
out
have
your
received a
Torghast
request
runs per
for
week.
aid from the...
But that's still
Thank you.
basically doing the same content,
it would be my some days
top
ago,
of the raid
but
content.
there is more.
repetitively
glance,
every week.
One would assume the involvement of bandits. Such crimes are hardly uncommon, and the
I
immortal...
think like WoD had
However,
the best balance.
This time we have reason to believe that a prime...
Aye. If we then consider the objects that were taken, there is...
That you may better understand the nature of our struggle with the primals. You have my thanks. If there is aught you wish to know,
It didn't have
Ever
an
at
incredible
your
amount of
service,
content,
dear
that's for
fellow.
sure. Unless you were raiding, in which case the content was amazing. Didn't have the best amount of content, but what it did have was a clear set goal. So you kind of knew where you were at each week, and it wasn't as reliant upon the range Jesus. And in WoD, like, basically after it, even if we did it clear, I'd be like, hey, fuck it, what am I supposed to do now? Oh, it's not grind for more whatever. It's like, hey, fuck it, I'm bored. Let's host a pug raid. Let's get some practice in. One of my favorite clears was as a blood DK, clearing it on heroic, getting AOTC on it, and oh, it's completely off my nut. I was drunk as. I was like, what are the mechanics? Taunt swapping Archimond while you're drunk is very interesting. But, you know, like, we were willing to do that, because it's like, well, someone's got to do it. Don't even gain anything to do it. It's just the fights were actually fun enough that it's like, yes, let's do it. Yeah, let's find these locals. I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to do this. If I get stuck, I might have to Google it. Oh my god. There we go. And I think progression by questing is so much more meaningful than progression by numbers. And then, like, just gathering like a currency for no reason at all, other than it's just like another step. Like, it doesn't make as much sense as actually having to like look around for characters and. That's what RPGs are all about, right? It's like questing. Not like an Excel spreadsheet. Yeah, they're on the roof or something. Up there. There we go. The pissed pisted. Also, there might be a chocobo that I haven't unlocked here yet. No, I've got that one. Okay. I feel that like once you get to the end of this, it's not like you have to keep it maintained, which is like one of the serious things about WoW. Like having to log in every single day to keep current. I think like once you get to max level in this, like you don't have to do as much. Like clearing raids and stuff like that, yes. But so I can play this obsessively until I've actually got it to like a leveled up state, and then I can stop playing this and play something else until there's more content and not feel bad for doing it. And it trivializes, in WoW it absolutely trivializes it, because once you get to like that sort of level, if you take a month off and wait until they unlock the next tier of content or whatever, you can essentially catch up to everyone else, or pretty close to them, like just by using catch-up mechanics, which just defeats the whole purpose of actually logging in every day and keeping your stuff current. Like if there was actually a point to do it like that. But this game doesn't. There's no illusions about what it actually expects of you. I don't mind that story, like that development skill. Because once I've done it, I've done it. I don't need to do it again. And again, and again. Look at those necks. Nope. He's like 3 levels above me. You better have a potion, little guy. First thing when he gets up, it should be slap. That's still slapping. Alright, finish off that class first. Chilly. Alright, I don't need to run that by the way, I can just go from here to the Thaumaturge skill. Yay, man of wood. I'm hoping this isn't one with a hat. I'm thinking that might be the best one to take. Sweet. Damage barrier set to Q. Oh god, what did I used to have my trying to remember, what did I used to have like Evanesce set to? It was yeah, it was Q. Yeah. No, I had Ice Block set to Q. Evanesce was set to E. I've already got that set to something else though, so I'm already used to using E for lightning. I'll set it to Q. I suppose I don't have Ice Block, so that's fine. So the next one's at like 40. Fire 3 at 35. Alright, another quick bio. I'll be right back. Actually, yeah, I used to get up to some crazy shit when we had Evanescence cooldown on Arcane Mage. It was a 3-second invulnerable cooldown, so it only lasted for 3 seconds. But what you could do in those 3 seconds was amazing. You could actually fill in for the tank and take a hit. So like if your tank went down, and you had to like, if you had threat on the boss, you could run the fuck out of raid and drop over an S just as it's about to hit you. Then you could like Suedo tank it for 3 seconds before it turned around and started annihilating everyone else after it kills you. But yeah, it's come in handy in raids, especially like on progression clears. So like you drop your invul and like all the DPS and everyone's still damaging the boss, and that might give the off tank enough time to get a cooldown and taunt back off you. Or if both tanks are dead. Ooh. I could cut 1 or 2 progression raid kills where it came in handy. Where like literally it got the last hit on the boss and killed it as a DPS while all the tanks are dead. Yeah, that's the sort of shit I'm proud of. It's not even a flex. Like, it's just like that's what makes it fun when it comes that close down to the wire. Ward was so good for that. But the only thing you can do with Arcane Mage now from that sort of shenanigans is like drop a ice block while there's still dots on the boss and hope that the dots kill the boss before it kills you. Or you could do it and ice block and then blink away before it attacks you. Like in between attacks. And then like hit it with like supernova or like Like, just like pummel it with an arcane crystal. A prismatic crystal. Or whatever. I'm not even sure if they still have prismatic crystals. I think that's no longer a talent. Yeah, I miss when arcane used to be complicated and you had to use like 8-9 different buttons. And people were always like bitching. Arcane's a one button class. Arcane blast, arcane blast, arcane blast. But no, it's not. You couldn't be further from the truth. And basically they just replaced that mess with like a short cooldown absorb shield. Doesn't do shit. It's a waste. That's the thing, you still actually have to use it. Yeah, there used to be a pretty clear delineation for mages in WoW. You'd have your arcane, who are good at like single target. You have your fire, that's good at multi-target and sustained DPS. Arcane's good at burst, single target, sustained DPS. And you have your frost, which is like the in-between that's good, kind of good at both, but it's better at like cleave. So like 2, 3, 4 targets. Whereas fire's better like against like 4 or 5 targets. And instead they just like tried to fuck it up and make it so that each class is as good. I suppose there's a bad thing if you like playing a fire mage or whatever, and you want to do single target DPS. But they can tweak that, and that's like to fix that. All they have to do is change the talents that you use and make like a single target viable fire and frost. Which is what they kind of did with Glacial Spike and like combustion cooldowns and such, and cleave. But like arcane cleave is like basically just like barrage. Like that's basically all you got. I suppose you've also got arcane explosion, but that's a different whole other story again. But the way that arcane used to get cleave in WoD was supernova, and it had specific. Tigger. Okay. No. I want to get back into the game. I don't have much longer. We gotta go work tomorrow. I promise to give you plenty of cuddles. Okay. The way that Arcane got cleave was using Supernova, which, while not technically the most damaging and effective cleave, actually threw your targets up. So, when if you used a Supernova on a group of like 3 ads, they'd be in the air for a couple of seconds, and it would stun their movement. Like, it wouldn't stop them from moving, but it would throw them up. So like, and that was very helpful for other classes. So like, you weren't in like the most effective cleave class, but what you could do is make it a hell of a lot easier for those that were. Like every class had its own strengths. Whereas it seems like they've tried to one size fits all for all classes in later expansions, which makes no sense. If you want to play Arcane, basically your damage is going bang, 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 heavy attack damage. Single target. And that's the way it should be. Like, WoD had it mint perfect, and then they fucked it up for everyone. And the way that they did that was they made it too complicated from the extra... Oh, the cut did get me pretty good. They made it too complicated from like power-ups for your different talents and the way they tried to introduce multiple systems to like increase certain talents. Because basically once you've got gear, which is like your chest or your headpiece or whatever, and that's locked into a certain type of talent buff, you have to use that. Otherwise you need to switch gear, which means that you need to farm 2 or 3 times the amount of gear to be versatile. Whereas in WoD, you didn't need to farm 2 or 3 different types of gear. As long as you had gear, you were versatile. So you want to switch a talent from being like a best example in FF5e, XIV is casting fire. You get a talent that makes it so you can cast fire faster, but it also might slow down your transition into Umbral. So when you gather your MP back, you get a piece of gear that compensates for that by having an extra ability that might let you cast one more, which is using like Swift Cast or something like that. And you spec your gear into that in Shadowlands or Legion or BFA, and all of a sudden you can't do a Thunder 2 or you can't do a Fire 2. Like, that's the way that I kind of dealt with it. And the only way to change that would be to basically have a separate set of gear. And then later on, they kind of like introduced a way where you could switch it, but you couldn't do it in a raid. You had to change your like they changed it. Like you used to be able to have like multiple gear sets in a raid, and then they penalized you for that by making it so that you can't change talents in a raid without using tomes. And then they made it so that you can't even change talents at all. Where like you're locked into a certain thing. And actually that's wrong. The where they did that was in Mythic Pluses. So if you're in a Mythic Plus, you could not change your gear. Why? You know, like if you're in the middle of a Mythic Plus and you want to change from being a single target DPS on a boss to being like an AoE target for trash pulls, just equip a different set of gear. Yeah. It's not like if you have to absolutely do it, you can have your 2 sets of gear. But no. Like 1 set of gear. So if you're raiding and your best set of gear is what you've got for single target damage, you're gonna absolutely suck doing mythics. Like mythic dungeons, mythic plus keys, clears. Or you can have a set of gear that's really good for doing mythic plus clears. But it'd have to be like a raid tier current gear. Whereas the difference with how it was in WoD was you could essentially switch between classes and switch between specs on the fly, switch between gear on the fly, and even if it wasn't the best gear, you could still go AoE or single target or cleave without a penalty. Like it just depended what you had. But yeah, when you're raiding in recent expansions, you gotta focus on one area. And do it very well. And there's no chance to like switch up on the fly. You change talents, you gotta change the slots in gear. So you definitely need more than one slot. Like more than one type of gear. But in your main way of getting that extra gear, you couldn't switch. It sounds convoluted and complicated, and that's because it is. It's completely unnecessary. Like even in WoW, I'd have to have like a macro to be able to switch targets. Where if I spam my attack key, base game, it wouldn't automatically switch to a second target. You'd actually have to have a macro set up. So on your attack command, it wouldn't be your actual attack command. You'd have like a macro set up so that if current target is dead, clear target, select next target. Like I just deliberately spammed the attack key there, it worked. But it's less complicated than, like, say, a typical rotation in WoD with the two BIS trinkets, in my opinion, and BIS talents for Arcane Mage, where you'd be attacking one target, casting at it get a proc, you drop down crystal right next to it, and then you attack the target next to the crystal with a rapid fire attack, and when the debuff on the enemy drops off, then you switch fire to the crystal, and then when the crystal drops off, you go back to single target. And like that could happen in a matter of 10-15 seconds. Using like mouse over attacks. So rather than having to click an enemy and select it, like this, or whatever, you could basically like mouse over press a button, and then mouse over press a button without even clicking. And like that's the way that you had to play in one. And it was great. It made Arcane complicated. And it really fucking pisses me off when people say that Arcane's a one-button class. Because it's not. I've been playing it for fucking years. Of course, Blizzard thinks it's a one-button class. That's what the problem is. And their way of fixing the problem. Well, people are saying that Arcane's too easy to play. Okay, let's introduce a 10% damage buff. Like, you press a button, instant cast. You can get an instant cast off. And put in another button in. You know, it like doesn't mean anything. It's not a skill thing, it's basically whack-a-mole. And then you get your whack-a-mole classes like Fire and Frost. They outperform Arcane Mages because it's so much easier to do the rotation. Arcane has always been the most complex rotation. Because it's easy to perform, but incredibly hard to master. One of the best examples, even in WoD, is it's like, oh guys, a guy was like, and this is when you could just like change between a spec without having to completely change your gear and shit. Hey dude, you should... Hey, try playing Frost instead of Arcane. Give it a go today. Okay, yeah, sure, I will try it today. DPS triples. What? It's fucking whack-a-mole. That's why. And then after doing that for a while, I'm like, oh yeah, like this is boring. I'm going to go back to the complicated class. And then I double my DPS over the whack-a-mole class. At least this is a single target. But the issue is that they refined it so much that you could essentially pull off a perfect rotation and still have shit DPS. And one of the ways that happens in this game, from what I can see, is that when a target is dead, it will still continue casting an ability at the corpse. If when you are casting at a dead enemy, it stopped the cast. Like cancel, cast interrupted basically. That would be like the one major improvement that this game could have. It would make casters feel awesome. And unfortunately there's no way to do that in the game at the moment because there's no macros. But that's one thing that I would do if I could. And then I would bloody love Blood Ridge. Oh, there goes the field. I still like it, it's still fun, it's still better. But yeah, like that's one way to actually improve it. It's as simple as if you're casting at an enemy, all you got to do is cast the attack key again, and it'll cancel your cast and it'll target the next one. You know, I like the way that Black Mage feels. It feels like it's kind of a mix between, from the abilities I've got right now, it's like kind of a mix between an Affliction Warlock and an Arcane Mage. And I like both classes, so. that was the DPS class I was trying to remember in the other stream. Blood DK, Arcane Mage, Disc Priest, Affliction Warlock. They're 4 classes that I play. Like, they're my primaries, that's what I've always done. Can't believe I forgot about Afflock. Brave set. Maybe it's underground? Ah, there we go. Every rose has its thorn. Particular boy she's interested in. Why does this feel like it suddenly has like a totally Japanese vibe to it? Lenny face. Booga booga. $12.42. I swear to God, my high school, and there's a lot of people like have a bit of confusion about like Australian schooling. It actually goes from kindergarten, which is like grade 0, which is usually between the age of 3, 4, roughly about there. Then you got grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's primary school. And then you have secondary college, which is 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you have high school, like higher college, which is 11, 12. And everyone in Australia is expected to do that. There's like an extra 3 grades that Australians have to do. Like what Americans call college is basically high school for Australians. And then our university level education is like a step above college. Whereas like Americans think that like uni is basically like getting your masters and stuff like that, your PhD. Getting your masters and PhD is part of university, which is like post year 12. So that's like, if your education in Australia goes from anywhere from 12 to 18 to 25 years. Unfortunately, like a lot of countries, we have the whole education is an export in Australia. So there's a huge percentage of Australian universities that accept basically full fee paying overseas students over Australian students, which is a huge issue here. Because Australia will actually subsidise your university education. So, if you are born in Australia, they will subsidise it. And you can have like a $14,000, $20,000, $25,000 debt. And it doesn't actually come out of your income to pay back that debt. It gets indexed. The interest on it doesn't increase that much. I did like 2.5 years of a IT and software engineering degree, and I still only owe about $14,000 roughly, and I haven't had to pay back a single cent of that, apart from obviously what I spent on books and all the lovely stuff. And I don't have to pay any of that back until I'm earning at least $60,000 a year Australian. Somewhere close to that, I can't remember exactly what it is. But yeah, I got offered 2 different university placements, not just one. I got offered one for telecommunications engineering, and the second one I got offered was for IT and software engineering. I took the IT and software engineering one, which is actually quite good. I learned a lot doing it. Though in reality, I should have taken the telecommunications one, because a couple of years later, I ended up working for one of Australia's biggest telecommunications companies as an engineer. Until my license lapsed, I was a licensed telecommunications engineer. I mean, it's actually kind of a thing, because like, if you get hit by 240 volts, like, yeah, it's fine. Like, you might kind of die. Maybe. Not really. Not unless you'll lock your hand around it. But if you're working with telecommunications, a lot of telecommunication systems work around 110, 100 volt. Which is just the perfect voltage to actually stop your heart. I've been hit by it like a few times. Oh, live terminal. Bzz. Nice little crack. And I've been able to do basically virtual 0.0 dB loss splices on fiber optics. Trained to do that. The Australian education system is great, but where I initially got into this conversation was basically how it's kind of like full fee paying. So Australian citizens don't have to pay the full fee. They don't have to pay it, basically. It gets, apart from your books and enrollment fees, it gets deferred until you're earning enough income to pay it back. Whereas overseas students can basically go, oh, here's $50,000. And university got, oh, you got a place. Which kind of sucks, because there's so many Australian people. Because we're essentially, it's not a welfare state, it's like semi-socialist. But there are so many Australian people who are like disadvantaged. I rank myself in that category, especially when I started. I ran a 3-bedroom house by myself. I have no support from family. One of my parents is ex-military, like massive trauma and shit from that crap. Not the happy end scenario for that one. I even had a scholarship for that. And it's not as easy as an Australian to get higher education and apply it in the workforce as you might think, because it's easier for other people to drop a wad of cash on the table, get their qualification, or come from, say, New Zealand, where they've got much more lax education standards, and essentially take Australian jobs. And I don't actually, I'm not even taking that from like a racist viewpoint or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, that's the way it is that Australians essentially get marginalized. And that part of the reason for that is because we're such like a multicultural country. So it's actually quite hard for Australians in our own country. Has been for a long time. I hope I explain that in a way that actually makes sense. Basically, if you go through like a census or whatever, most people identify as having Australian heritage out of our population of like 24 million or something like that. Yeah, out of that heritage, there's people claiming Australian heritage, probably about 6 or 8 million are first generation, so haven't been in the country for very long. And there's a huge percentage of people who aren't Australian citizens but have Australian rights. So for instance, because it's quite a socialist country, being able to get welfare, being taxed at the same rate even though they're not from our country, and they're basically just getting on a plane or a boat and just huge proportion of the population, like 33%, 1/3 roughly. Especially in casual employment, which is it virtually makes it impossible for a lot of Australians to find work. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's a bad thing if you're an Australian. It's not racist. It's just facts. Based. And by what I'm actually saying, like in that area, it's I'm not saying you can't just like move to Australia or get Australian citizenship and like be here for one generation and not be considered Australian. That's completely different from the rules that are applied to other Anglo-Saxon nations like New Zealand or England, where people from those countries often have essentially the same rights as Australian citizens, even though they aren't actually Australian. And that's completely different from someone who like immigrated from like Vietnam or like Singapore or Hong Kong or something like that, who are intrinsically more valuable and a hell of a lot more trustworthy than people who immigrate to Australia from England or New Zealand. So that's a really weird spin on it. The Caucasian Aussie saying, fuck the white people. The problem with New Zealand is that it's you have to look up New Zealand to know more about that. It's reverse racism, basically, from New Zealand. England's different. It's like, it's straight up racism from like England, but it's reverse racism from New Zealand. There's a small percentage. What's the best way to put it? I don't think New Zealanders should have the same rights as Australians. Straight up. Like, I just don't think they should. We should get rid of that. Shouldn't even be a treaty. Like the Anzac, fuck it. We're not at war. It's been a very long time. In New Zealand, politics are very woke, and that transfers over to Australian politics. I mean, you're talking about a country that doesn't have spiders, snakes, predators, emus. If you're not an Australian citizen, you should be paying the maximum tax rate. That's what I believe. And if you want to accept Australian values and forget New Zealand prejudices and become an Australian citizen, go for your life. That's what I believe. Alright, that's basically it. I'm gonna have to go to bed. Got work tomorrow. Lovely. Looks like a good place to sleep, just in there. Don't mind if take a kip. Just come into your home. Yeah, I'll just sleep here, that's fine. Don't need to pay rent or anything. Don't worry, Social Security will pay for it. Alright. Catch you next time. Pretty good progress today. What level did I get up to? Oh god, 33. Ooh. I mean, as long as my life ain't fucked with, I'm happy. Point. Right.